fellow honorable members. I'm Jeff Mrebwa, MP for Kafula-Futa constituency on the Copper Belt in Masai district. You are welcome.
Chitambo is the constituency I represent, and the name is Remember Mutare.
Thank you. Honorable Myoto.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, witness. My name is Chinga Myoto. I represent Karabu Central.
Thank you. So just come in. We can introduce yourselves also.
Yeah, I've been joined by another member who can introduce himself.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry for coming in late. My name is Lusale Simbao, Member of Parliament for Luansha constituency.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, witness. My name is Tuambo Mutinta, Member of Parliament for Itazitas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Fred Jatila, Member of Parliament for Momba constituency in Mwanze, also the chairperson for the committee. So what we'll do is Vice Chairperson will give you, if you need all of it, about 25 minutes to take us through all the three heads, and then after that the members will come in to, if at all there will be any questions for clarifications, and after that it will be done. So you can start.
The chairperson of the expanded planning and the budgeting committee. The committee on agriculture, lands and natural resources who out standing orders 206A and 207 of the National Assembly of Zambia, standing order 2024, has the honor to present its report on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 1st January to 31st December 2026 for three heads, namely 1, Head 5, that's the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, 2, Head 6, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, and the Head 3, 389, Ministry of Agriculture. Chairperson, let me highlight some of the observations and the recommendations of the committee on the three heads of expenditure. I'll start with the Head 85, that is the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Chairperson, under Head 85, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the committee observes a notable reduction in the approved amounts towards the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources from 2025 to 2026 national budgets. In 2025, the allocation to the ministry was 304,337,430 kwacha, and in the 2026 national budget, the ministry has been allocated 283,092,624 kwacha. Chairperson, the committee is however concerned about the releases of funds to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources by the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. As at 31st August 2025, the amount released was only 133,356,493 kwacha out of the approved budget allocation of 304,337,430 to the ministry in 2025. Also, out of the total released amounts, only 94,641,606 was expended as at 31st August 2025. In this regard, Chairperson, there is need for the Ministry of Finance and National Planning to expedite the release of funds to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources if a meaningful development is to be attained. With regards to the huge gap that exists between the released funds and what was expended as by 31st August 2025, the committee had urged the Ministry to expedite its procurement and spending processes. Chairperson, another matter that the committee observed is the reduction in the key programs under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. These reductions can pose a risk to the attainment of strategic objectives that are contained in the 8th National Development Plan. Chairperson has stated the reduction in the land administration and regulation program from 205 million in 2025 to 200 million in 2026 budget threatens progress towards secure land tenure, equitable land access and sustainable land use. In this regard, the committee is recommending that allocations to the program be protected or enhanced in line with the Zambia's obligations that are contained in the voluntary guidelines on the responsibilities, on the responsible governance of tenure, with particular attention to vulnerable groups such as women, youth, and rural communities. Chairperson, the committee has also observed that under the Management and Support Services Program, there is a 17% reduction, and this reduction is if this reduction is not addressed, can weaken the ministry's institutional capacity, particularly in human resource management, planning, and financial oversight. Chairperson, such reductions can in turn result in understaffing, delayed service delivery, and reduced accountability. The committee is therefore recommending that the budget allocation to management and support services be reviewed and adjusted upwards in order to safeguard institutional effectiveness and ensure compliance with the national policy priorities and donor-supported initiatives. Chairperson, under the land administration and regulations on the certification of title, in 2024, the 2024 financial year, the number of certificates of title which were targeted to be produced was 250,000 certificates. But what was produced was only 13,066 certificates in the 2025 financial year. 50,000 was the target, but what was produced was only 5,986 certificates. Chairperson, in 2026 financial year, the ministry has targeted for production of 50,000 certificates. From the analysis, the committee observed that the ministry was unable to meet its targets as outlined. The case was for 2024 and 2025 financial years, even where the targets were reduced. Chairperson, the committee is therefore recommending that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources should enhance capacity and also be able to set measurable and achievable targets. Chairperson, allow me to focus on the Head 86, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. Head 86, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. Chairperson, in 2024, the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock was allocated 1 billion kwacha, 73,909,662 kwacha in the 2025 financial year. The ministry was allocated 1,842 million kwacha, 928,195, and in 2026 the ministry was allocated 1,854,049,407. In terms of allocation by program, the committee has observed that observed that the Animal Health Services Program received the largest share of the program allocation in 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 financial years. Although 2026 had indicated a decrease in terms of allocation compared to 2025 financial year, to qualify this statement, we say that the program was allocated 498,822,748 kwacha in 2024. In 2024, 857,052,285 was allocated in 2025, while in 2026 has an allocation of 713,498. Chairperson, in terms of expenditure under the same program in the 2024 national budget, what was up was 1,464,290,187 kwacha. What was released was 916,333,994. And what was expended was 885,624,280. In the 2025 national budget, what was approved was 1.814,842,924,195 kwacha. What was released was 524,211 and 424 kwacha point 46 ingwe. And what was expended as at 31st of August 2025 was 484,659,784.85. Chairperson, from the observation, the committee is greatly concerned about the erratic release of funds to the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock by the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. This situation is negatively affecting the effective implementation of programs under this ministry. The committee therefore recommends that the Minister of Finance and National Planning should deliberately consider prioritizing the disbursement of allocated funds to the ministry. This will enable the ministry to operate effectively and enhance food security in the country. Head 89, Ministry of Agriculture. Chairperson, the Ministry of Agriculture was allocated 12,751,909,812 in the 2024. In 2025 national budget, the ministry was allocated 13,561,331,810. 2026 financial year, the ministry has been allocated 13,260,349,106. Chairperson, in terms of program classifications, the Agriculture Development and Productivity received the largest share of the programs allocations in the 2024, 2025 and 2026 financial years. However, 2026 has indicated a slight decrease in terms of allocations compared to the 2025 financial year. The program was allocated 10,221,000,000 kwacha 874,515 in 2024. 10 billion kwacha 249,476,828 was allocated in 2025, while in 2026 has an allocation of 10 billion as an 2026 had an allocation of 12,128,575,083 kwacha, and this allocation represents 76.6% of the total budget to the Ministry of Agriculture. Chairperson, you may wish to note that the Agriculture Development and the Productivity Programs is primarily dominated by two sub-programs, namely the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP, which accounts for 9.2 billion kwacha, representing 70.4% of the ministry's total budget, and the National Food Reserves Management, which accounts for 2.2 billion, representing 16.8% of the ministry's allocation. Chairperson, arising from the background, the committee makes its recommendations and its observations and recommendations as follows. 1. The committee observes that the 2026 budget allocation to the Ministry of Agriculture is overwhelmingly dominated by two programs, such as the case has been in the previous financial years. The committee observes that most of the allocation to the Ministry of Agriculture is directed towards FISIP and FRA. This is affecting many other critical programs in the sector. In this regard, the committee strongly makes the following recommendations. 1. Part of the allocation for FISIP should be allocated to other critical programs such as extension services, farm block development, irrigation development, research and development, and many other programs. It is therefore recommended that the 450 million kwacha from FISIP be reallocated to other programs, reducing FISIP allocation from 9.15 billion kwacha to 8.7 billion kwacha. 2. Alternatively, the executive should consider moving FISIP and FRA allocation to Head 21, Ministry of Finance and National Planning, or consider establishing FISIP interventions as an agency, as the case is for the Food Reserve Agency, so that the program may have a stand-alone allocation. It is the view of the committee that doing so will ease and free the crowded financial space under the Ministry of Agriculture. Chairperson, I thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairperson, for that submission. Honourable members, any questions? I see two hands. Honourable Smushi, Honourable Musanji, and then Honourable Marumba. Before we go to the next, Honourable Smushi. Your mic,
Thank you, Chair. I want to speak to agriculture, and the question I have has to do with the question of resources to FISIP and FRI, and the limited resources to other important programs. But I want to focus on research. I think there's something that I've noticed that we, as a country, we seem not to really take serious. We are emphasizing on enhancing productivity, production, so that we can have more food, of course, which is the mandate of the ministry to secure food security. But I think with the light of climate change that we have, we are overlooking research, which to me is the cornerstone of what we are trying to achieve. So I've seen you have seen the same issue. It is highlighted in your report, where you are proposing to put money to extension, research. But now here I've seen you've just proposed a block figure. I'm not seeing how much you are trying to propose to go towards research, towards extension. So then maybe the question begs that how did you arrive at this amount that you have proposed? Now, research, one of the issues that we have a problem with is resource mobilization. But I don't know if in your interactions with the ministry, you asked them as to why research is being neglected, because it's one of those areas that can give us resources. Through research, the research institute can come up with the varieties which it can then commercialize, and then the private seed companies can get those. But as they use the seed, they have to pay the ministry. So maybe the question that I have is, why don't we propose to increase money to research so that we can have the state-of-the-art labs that can help us come up with varieties to sort out the problem of climate change. Because what we are likely to have is, we are emphasizing on production using the current varieties. But as climate change keeps on evolving, you'll find that these varieties will become irrelevant. They may not give us the kind of yields that we need. So we need to be ahead. But to do that, we need a proper research station that has state-of-the-art laboratories. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Musanje.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you, Vice Chair, for this committee for your presentation. On your recommendation in the agriculture on page 22, where you have recommended that we cut FISIP from 9.15 billion to 8.70 billion. Have we calculated how many people will be affected by this cut? Like how many people is 9.15 billion? How many farmers are supposed to be covered in that? And when we reduce it to 8.70 billion, how many farmers will be affected to the extent that we do not have cries? Because the cries in the constituency is that increase the farmer security pack, increase the numbers. Our people are demanding for an increase in the pack, and also increase, in the number of fertilizer bags, and also increase in the number of beneficiaries themselves, since the population has gone up. But you are proposing actually to cut it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Mabumba.
Thank you, Chair. Since Honorable Musanje has asked that particular question, maybe for now I leave it unless other colleagues will not ask something on the Minister of Agriculture. Let me just go to Minister of Lands. Chair, our colleagues on page 9 of their submission, in their recommendation, which is recommendation on page 8 and 9. In their recommendation number 2 there, I don't know whether the numbering is correct, because there's 1, 2, then there's another 2 there. But okay, I'll just read it. What they're saying, the committee observes that under land administration regression on the certification of title in 2024, the number of certificates of title which were targeted to be produced was 250,000 certificates, but what was produced was 13,066, and then it goes on. Chair, in the Republic of Zambia, the Minister of Land become another revenue authority like we have the Zambia Revenue Authority. Now, when you look at performance in terms of even the targeting and so forth, I'm sure from this particular report, you would agree with me that what our colleagues are telling us that there's some underperformance in terms of key targets under the Minister of Lands. Colleagues, in your conversation with the portfolio minister and other stakeholders, are you not of the considered view that maybe what you are lacking in this particular country is a lack of institutional framework that should administer land properly and generate revenue on behalf of the Republic of Zambia? Because at the moment, you have got the Minister of Lands, you have the Commission of Lands there sitting. In other countries, the Minister of Lands will have got a commission that administers land, just like we have gone under the Minister of Mines to create a commission, so that you ease the administration of land and the revenue correction in that particular sector. So I don't know, in your conversation, when you saw these targets not being met, whether you were comfortable with them or you took it to the portfolio minister to ask what is it that is failing them not to achieve these particular targets. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson on your team, you can respond.
Thank you very much, honorable members, for those very, very important questions. I think I've got also my 2 colleagues here who will be able, I think, to also supplement. I think Honorable Simoshi brought the issue of...
You have got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, yeah, 5. Plus yourself 6.
Yeah, Honorable Simoshi brought the issue of FISIP and the FRA. Is lamenting that I think as a country we are spending quite huge resources on just 2 programs at the expense of other very, very important programs such as research, extension services. It's very true. This committee, it has been the concern each and every year when interacting with the Ministry of Agriculture. But I think we must admit that I think maybe as a country we have failed to make a bold decision. Because these two particular programs are like highly politicized, that each government is failing to make a bold decision. Because indeed, if a big, more than 70% of the ministry's budget is just going to two programs, then it's very, very difficult for us to improve the agriculture sector. So indeed, it is also our recommendation, our wish, that the extension services research must be given a priority. And we have made these suggestions every year. These suggestions are made to the ministry. Unfortunately, I think as a country we have not made a bold decision. Then there was also Mr. Honorable Sumushi raised the issue of 450 million kwacha, that this is just a block figure. You haven't maybe itemized that this money must go maybe to research, this amount of money must go to extension services. Yes, indeed, during our interaction with the ministry, we have not come up with specific figures to specific program. But we feel that through the interaction we have had with the other stakeholders and also the ministry, I think the ministry will be able to take into account I think what you have raised, Honorable Sumushi. Also, I think the issue of climate change. Indeed, we know that climate change is an elephant in the room, and if we don't take holistic measures to deal with climate change, then food security is going to be undermined. But if we adequately fund research institutions, they'll be able to come up with varieties which are drought resistant. So I think we totally agree with you that we should be going in that direction, and that's what we have also been engaging our colleagues in the Ministry of Agriculture. Honorable Musanje brought up the issue of FISIP, that this reduction, how many farmers are going to lose out? If you remember very well, several stakeholders who have appeared before this committee, especially on the issue of FISIP, they are saying that this FISIP is not actually achieving its intended target. Why is it that people are not graduating? People have been on FISIP perpetually without graduating. So the government is spending a lot of resources, and that's why maybe the government has come up with a sustainable agricultural financing facility, so that those farmers who are not be able to be on FISIP would be able now to fall back on SAF and also other social security programs such as social security pack. So I think that is my response to that. Honorable Mabumba brought the issue of title deeds, that the ministry has been failing to meet their target. Indeed, the ministry feel that they are not adequately funded. That's the reason why they are failing to meet those targets. And indeed, I think it's a very good suggestion that maybe if the issue of land can be dealt by an independent institution, I think it will help us, because currently we have a lot of challenges in terms of land administration. So I think that's a very good observation, in which we shall engage the line ministry. So if there are any addition from my colleagues, I think they can add on the same.
Okay, maybe you can come in. Your mic, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to re-emphasize on the point of research. I think it was a discussion that we had with Zambia Agricultural Research Institute, where they indicated the inadequacy of resources towards their programs they have like in a year. Most of the programs that they have are primarily looking at or pointing at how best they can be able to improve their products to be climate resilient. And based on that, they were contemplating to say that how best can we be able to increase their budget to ensure that they can be able to produce climate resilient products. So Zari as well was complaining on the resource part, and as the chair has indicated here, the resources that are being released to the ministry predominantly are looking at the two facilities, which is FRA and FISIP, but at the end of the day, the other need areas are not well catered for, and hence this challenge that Zari has. I just want also to indicate to the question Honorable Mabumba asked in relation to the issues of titles. If you could see the variance between the money that was released and the money that was budgeted for, the gap is too big, and therefore that's the reason why most of the objectives they wanted to achieve were not achieved, because the monies that were released was insignificant. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Honorable, is your Vice Chair present to indicate what we should do?
Thank you, Honorable Singiri.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to underscore the point that on the question of Honorable Mabumba. Yes, Minister of Lands can be one of those that where the country can rely in terms of resource mobilization. The Lands Commission is key. In the absence of the Land Commission, we have what we have, what we are having at the moment. The institutional framework is key. I think we did also during the year, there's a bill that came through. Even that bill requires that we must have a Lands Commission. And this is what will resolve a lot of issues that are happening under the Ministry of Lands. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair, for giving me this opportunity. I just want to add on a question that talked about the low funding in research. And this is our appeal to also the committee on expanded committee. If you see the declaration, the Maputo declaration, it says 10% of the total budget should go to agriculture. But you see, if you see this, the percentage for this next year's budget is being reduced to maybe 5 or 6%, if I'm not mistaken. But the Maputo declaration talked about the 10%. So our appeal also is that we need more funding to this ministry. This ministry is key. So our appeal to you, expanded committee, please, as you do a recommendation, please ask for more funding to the Ministry of Agriculture, because it's a key ministry. It needs 10% of this. If it was given 10%, there was not going to be a question of how we have not given a lot of funds to the research department, which is also key. Thank you so much, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Before Honorable Mabenga comes in, on the issue of, that is on page number 22, on the issue of where you are recommending that 450 million from FISIP be reallocated to other programs, and you have left that open through the technicals from the Ministry of Agriculture, because you know these variations you are proposing, we are meeting the Minister of Finance tomorrow to push for those variations. But if you leave it the way you have left it, to say, and going by your response, that you just recommending that this money should be reallocated to the other programs, then it becomes very difficult even for this committee to undertake that, because it is the Minister of Agriculture. When you met them, they are the ones, in fact, we should have said from that 450 million, maybe 200 million should go to this program. This amount goes to this program. I don't know, because we still have maybe today, if that is possible, so that we are clear as we meet the minister. Leaving this to the Minister of Finance, I'm just imagining, because they will be compiling these. They will not know, because the key ministry, which is Minister of Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, should have done this. to say we want this 450 million to go to this as you distribute it. But as you have put it, we have just left it open, so it becomes very difficult even for this committee to make that recommendation. Just so you may want just to engage. We still have today. Ask the ministry specifically where they want that, so that we can put it in that order. Okay, having said that, Honorable Mabenga, then Honorable Simunji, in that order.
Yeah, thank you very much. I take you to page 3, Mr. Chair, under survey fees. There's an increment up to million kwacha. Now I want to find out on this 25, which are the jump from last year, 2025, which was 15 to 25. And does this include the traditional boundaries, the maximum of the new traditional boundaries, or what has the actually necessitated this increment? And also, if you go to the same page 3, your last recommendation, observation there, the last line, I just want to find out what explanation the client gave when you actually engaged him, because you are saying this raises concern of how targets will be achieved in 2026 if the target of 258, 462, 542 target for 2024 was not met. I don't know whether they gave any explanation. And the other question is on page 5. Page 5. No, there's the under expenditure there on 3.8. If we look at 2025, there's the under expenditure. Is it to do with the capacity where they are not able to own the assets? Is it to do with the capacity, or what could have been the reason? Because those are the things we need in rural areas. Now if we come to page 12, we have recommended this on table 4.6.1, even though the title is wrong, but the content is livestock. I just want to find out the disease control, whether in those assets there they include the transport, because the main issue in rural areas is when there's a outbreak of disease in the animals. We find that you have no transport. If the officer has got a motorbike, has no fuel. Now we have this budget here. I don't want to find out where under assets whether it includes transport. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Simunji. Your mic, Honorable Mabenga.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to take the committee to page 3, table 3.5, which is telling us the revenue targets and the outturns. Now from the table, from my own analysis, I can see that most of the outturns are lower than the targets. And this is the base on which the revenues for this country, the non-tax revenues, are based. Now, I'll take you to the local authorities. Local authorities, every 6 months, they'll give you notices for rates you are supposed to pay. Failure to do that, other actions will take place. Bailiffs will come to your house and they will come and get whatever is in the house so that you can pay the rates. Now when you go to Ministry of Lands, I've never received any notice to say, can you pay your ground rent? Did the committee take time to interview the witnesses? What methods or models they are trying to build to ensure that people who have built houses on government land pay ground rent? And did the committee try to find out from the witnesses on this government bus, whether it's, we are achieving the purpose or it's not, or we are just paying money for nothing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Honorable Mumba, you have a question? Honorable Mujero, did you have a question? It's a question? Okay, Honorable Mujero, go ahead. Noted. Honorable Mumba, you can switch off first. Let's consider where we have not. Honorable.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Vice Chairperson, thank you very much for your presentation. Chairperson, I'm very much concerned also on the issue of recruitment, and I just want to hear from the Vice Chairperson of Agriculture Committee, okay, on yeah, maybe I can start. I know that you had a little bit of a divided attention, sir. My question is on the issue of recruitment under the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock and Fisheries. I think the point I have not heard enough, because, Chairperson, I can tell you that I think it has taken a little bit of time, okay, from the time we had massive recruitment like teachers and nurses under these two vital ministries. I think there is need, and I just want to hear, okay, what is in the budget on the recruitment of vet extension officers under vet department, and also agriculture extension officers. I think this thing is quite very important, and we've had a lot of graduates, but we have not seen massive recruitment. I just want to hear a comment on that one. Then on the issue of Maputo declaration, Chairperson, the honorable member for Mukaika, I think, did talk about Maputo declaration, where all countries here in Africa had agreed, they signed the document where they need to be contributing a minimum of 10%, okay, each country here in Africa on agriculture. But here this time around, I think here we have seen the percentage, okay, dropping. But I think it's important for this committee, expanded budget committee, to be aware that, quite all right, the percentage, okay, the percentage contribution under agriculture towards this year's budget, it is about 6-point-something%, but we are supposed to contribute 10%. But it's important to know, or to become aware, that under defense, under Ministry of Community Development, under Ministry of Water Development, there is a component of also agriculture.
Honorable Mujero, I know you are the chairperson of that committee. Now,
thank you very much, Chairperson.
You are not let them respond to those.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you.
I end here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Vice Chairperson, you can respond to those.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, members, for the questions. I think first and foremost, the Chair mentioned the issue of the 450 million that you haven't itemized how much money will go to each program. I think we shall engage the relevant ministry. Yeah. Indeed, you are right, because for the ministry to make an informed decision, at least they must have something in the picture. So we will engage the ministry. Then I will respond to Honorable Michelo's question, and these others, I think my colleagues will also come in. Yes, Honorable, we do note that the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries is very, very key, and this is the ministry which has not really been fully utilized for it to contribute significantly to job creation and also the GDP. I think, as we are aware, that we are targeting as a country to export 20,000 metric tons of beef. So that means that there will be need that this ministry should be adequately funded. There will be need that more workers should be employed, especially extension officers, because for us the 20,000 metric tons is not an easy thing. So a lot of resources will be needed. So indeed, when we interacted with the ministry, we brought up these issues that with this target which we intend to export the beef, we should ensure that we have adequate qualified manpower. Then I think most of the questions asked by Honorable Mawenga, Honorable Simongi, I think mostly they are technical questions which I feel we can still engage the ministry so that I think they can be able to explain. But I think most of them are quite very technical. But however, I'll ask my friends also to make any contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to re-emphasize on the point of the revenue correction under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. I think what is more prudent is the creation of the Lands Commission. This commission is going to oversee many activities that will ensure that the ministry also contributes to the correction of the revenue. And yes, they are not doing anything in terms of either punishment if you don't pay. Probably if many of us do have title deeds, and then at the end of the day we don't pay to the ministry, there's very low punitive measures that will compel a person to pay. So that alone is reducing the revenue correction. So with the creation of the Lands Commission, I think this is going to really help the prudent management of this very important ministry. Then on the part of recruitment, really there was a huge emphasis from many of the stakeholders that came. There is a huge gap where one single farmer is looking at a good number of farmers, and to manage to traverse from point A to B to ensure that he takes care of the interests of the farmer is being impeded because of the nature of the number of the people who are in there. However, we still feel that recruitment of more vet officers is prudent, and within this budget we feel that it is important that it has to be factored in to ensure that we have a good number of our people that are going to be recruited in this particular ministry. Then the issue of the 450 million variation, yes, in as much as our committee is recommending, but the ministry was a little bit cagey in terms of the same, based on the fact that they feel that FISIP is one of the vehicles that has helped really to create food security in the country. As you are aware that maize production predominantly is produced by the small-scale farmers, and they believe that FISIP is the main vehicle that has contributed towards this attainment. Thank you, Chair. I submit.
Thank you. I had seen a hand from Honorable Mukosa, Honorable Mabumba in that order, then Honorable Simush, then we'll take the last two from Honorable Mawenga and Honorable Musanji. Honorable Mukosa.
Thank you, Chair. For me, I just wanted to get an understanding of what has been written on page 9 under the second part 2 of the recommendations, where the committee has indicated that the committee observes that under land administration and regulation on the certification of title, in 2024 the number of certificates of title which were targeted to be produced was 250,000 title certificates, but what was produced was only 13,066 certificates. In 2025 financial year, 50,000 was the target, but what was produced was only 5,986, which is 5,996 titles. I'm just trying to understand, because 2025 has not finished. Are they saying that this was produced up to a certain date, or what do they mean? What do you mean? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mabumba.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, for me again, I take the committee or the witness to page 22, and I'm sure some of the colleagues have asked a question on the Minister of Agriculture. And hearing what the Vice Chairperson alluded to earlier in his answers, he was of the considered view that this matter in terms of aligning or reforming FISIP has been submitted, and it appears there hasn't been any progress. Honorable Kasauti, I speak to you direct. I think, you know, change agents, we may not need to have 10 100 change agents. As you are a chairperson for this key important committee for the Republic of Zambia, using your tenacity skill, you can speak to the leadership on it. Even if the president was out, say what I'm going to tell you. Economic transformation and job creation in this country cannot only rely on the mines. The farm blocks that have taken so long to be developed in this country are a primary share to job creation. So now, Honorable, if we are going to put all the money under just FISIP, why don't we just maybe let's vary 3 billion kwacha, and this 3 billion kwacha be targeted at 3 farm blocks, each farm block 1 billion, 1 billion. What is it? We are going to achieve so much. So, my chairperson, and Honorable Kasauti, how are you going to help us to speak to the leadership?
Honorable, you ask a question to my member, ask that question to the vice chairperson.
Sir, through Honorable Kasauti to the vice chairperson, in your conversation with Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Mtoro colleagues, what answers was he giving on this variation? Because for me, I'm of the considered view that they are on firm ground in terms of their recommendation. But what is it that those who are in leadership, what are they telling us on this particular aspect? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Simushi.
Thank you, Chair. I want to take the committee to page number 15 on the committee's observations and recommendations, number 1, 4.9 then 1. I think here the committee says on the first one, the last paragraph, in this regard the committee recommends that the upward budget adjustments in extension and development services under fisheries and the livestock program be matched with the adequate recruitment and deployment of extension officers. So I don't know, what is the upward adjustment? I'm sure you're talking about the budget here. You're adjusting the budget upwards. And then if you are doing so, from which program are you getting these resources? Are you varying the resources? I thought maybe that should come clear. And then I just want to find out on your recommendation on agriculture, establishment of an agency to deal with the FISIP. In your interaction with the ministry, what was their reaction to this proposal? And then finally, I want you to, just a small one. We have FISIP and we have SAF. I wanted to find out from you in your discussion with the ministry, are these programs going to go on perpetually, or at some point we expect to see FISIP phasing out and then us maybe getting on to SAF? Maybe just something on that one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson, you can respond to those, including respond on behalf of Honorable Kasauti. That question from Honorable, very important question.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, honorable members. I think Honorable Mkosa was trying to find out about the target, and then he said this is not the end, we are in October. I think whatever figures have been presented here, they are up to 31st August. So these other months will be taken care of. So I think that's how I can respond on that one. Honorable Mavumba, transforming FISIP. Earlier on I said that the elephant in the room is the issue of FISIP, and I think we just need to bite the bullet as a country. It may not just be the Committee on Agricultural Lands and Natural Resources, but I think there is need to make bold decisions, and in fact all the stakeholders who appeared before our committee for the past, I think, 4 years, we have been insisting, and as a committee has even made proposals to the government to say, if you look at the farmer contribution, the 400 kwacha, it was introduced many years ago. But if you take into account inflation, depreciation of the kwacha, surely why don't we adjust the farmer contribution so that at least if it is, I'm sure the Zambian farmers will be able to pay that. But the problem is that the issue of FISIP is highly politicized. We have made several suggestions on this, but we are not making progress. But we shall continue as a committee on agriculture. We shall continue to engage the ministry so that the government can make a bold decision. Because if you look at the budget, look what the key, you find that even infrastructure, you find that the money going to roads is less sometimes to the money going to just FISIP. And you find that FISIP is not all the money which is going for the intended. You find that even the elite people are busy collecting this fertilizer. So I think there's need that indeed we just have to make a radical decision. Otherwise, we shall be going around in circles. I agree with you, Honorable Mawumba, that the farm blocks, I think, are very key. They can help us to increase, contribute to food security, employment levels in this country. And I've seen that in the 2026 budget, at least there's been some commitment to develop these farming blocks so that they can be fully utilized. Honorable Sumochi, I think, also spoke about the issue of the committee proposing an upward adjustment. I think we appealed to the ministry that looking at the available resources which have been allocated in 2026 national budget, they should find a way in which maybe certain resources can be shifted towards recruitment, because I think recruitment of extension officers, I think, is quite very key. And also there was also a suggestion that we're looking at phasing out FISIP and maybe doing something else. These are the issues which I think it's the government to make a final decision. We as a committee can make these recommendations, but at the end of the day, the government has to make a decision. And as a committee on agriculture, we went around the country to get submissions from farmers. And our farmers still feel that they need to be in FISIP, and for them they feel that they are not graduating because the fertilizer, the number of packs are not adequate. So there is still that appetite that they should continue to be on this facility, but definitely it will need both the political decisions. My friends can also...
The question also on the establishment of an agency from Honorable Sumochi. Honorable Smith, do you want to repeat the question? Your mic, Vice?
Yeah, I was saying you have proposed that we have an agency that will look at FISIP. So I was asking, what was the reaction of the ministry when you made that proposal to them?
Yeah, I think these suggestions have been made several times, and in fact, even following the interaction the committee has had with several stakeholders, we've been suggesting that the Ministry of Agriculture should have just a department, an independent department, just to deal with this particular issue. Because what is happening that the entire ministry, the concentration is just on FISIP and the FRA. So we have made those suggestions that let's have just create maybe a separate entity in the ministry which should be able to overlook, to ensure that they deal with this particular issue.
Thank you.
Yes, such suggestions have been made.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. And actually, the Ministry was very emphatic on the same. They indicated that it is important to have this agency so that they can be able to monitor the activities of the FISIP program. Then on the part of will FISIP continue or not, FISIP will continue, but you have seen that the Ministry has not increased the number of packs. From I think since 2021, that's the number that has been maintained by the ministry, meaning that they are trying to find alternative ways of funding the same program by way of introducing SAF and CASIP. These two programs have been helping a good number of farmers. They've been accessing inputs and then they pay at the end of their harvest. Then on the part of the question for Honorable Mukosa, just like the Vice Chair has indicated, the period was not catering the whole year. It was ending in October, and we think maybe the number would increase at the end of the year. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. The last question will come from Honorable Musanje and Honorable Mabenga. Honorable Musanje.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Committee on Agriculture, for your responses. I still have issue with the issue of reducing the FISIP, because the SAF, much as it's introduced, is not allowing our village farmers to qualify. Instead, they're qualifying people as civil servants, because the form requires collateral, it requires an income and all that. So our village farmers actually are failing to access that. And maybe, I don't know if you inquired in the way it can be done, but it will be, are you not considering actually increasing the number of farmers on FISIP to the extent that first we guarantee food security before we can diversify?
Okay.
And since you're talking about engaging the ministry, it would be good to know where they think these monies must go, especially the extension officers. Now, my other question, Chair, was on the Ministry of Lands. The issue of land rates. Did you inquire whether it's based on developments on the land or it's based on the land size? Because like I recent national airports complaint that the same piece of land which we are paying 50,000 is all of a sudden gone to 1.5 million or 13 million, and the land hasn't increased, but it's gone to 13 million within that's too exorbitant. And this is also happening to us in our areas. A piece of land you were paying 75 kwacha, all of a sudden is 1,500 for the same piece of land. Nothing has changed there. So did you inquire on this important issue that is affecting people on land rates? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mabenga.
Yeah, thank you. My Chair, my questions were not really fully answered. The first one on disease control, because I asked that the disease control requires transport. Now we have a budget of 348,130,850. Now I'll try and find out whether this asset, this budget, does it include transport in all areas or not? Because without transport, this disease control we are talking about, it just be an academic exercise. The other question which I had asked was, I was referred to the land commission, that land commission, when it is on, it comes, then that is the issue to be discussed. Now I just want to find out as to when this bill will come to Parliament, so that we can move, because we have traditional boundaries that there are disputes there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your question, in fact, and that's why I'm trying to, okay, I'm chairing, the vice chairperson, in fact, was very candid to say, if you remember, you asked those questions, and Honorable Simunji also had asked a question, isn't it? And the vice chairperson responded that those, in fact, were technical, in the sense that maybe the technicals will be on a good footing to respond to those. That was his response, and I had to agree in that manner. So maybe we can find maybe a way of having those responded to. Yeah. Okay, Vice Chairperson, unless you have something to add, you can respond to Honorable Musanje's questions, and the issue raised by Honorable Mabenga, but you had responded to it.
Thank you very much, Chair. Honorable Musanje is concerned about the reduction, the 450 million. And actually, this proposal arose after engaging some stakeholders. But it did not come from the ministry. We had asked the ministry to reconsider, if at all, they can shift the 450 million so that it can go to these other key programs such as research and also extension services. But no concrete decision has been made on that one. Indeed, we agree with you, Honorable Msanje, that FISIP is a vehicle which our farmers are able to access farming inputs for them to increase household income and also safeguard the national food security. Earlier on I said that the Committee on Agriculture went round and selected the parts of this country to get what the farmers feel and the challenges I think farmers have been facing in terms of graduating. And indeed what came out was that the farmers still feel that there is need to increase the number the packs, but due to limited resources it has been very difficult because of budget constraints. It has been very difficult for the government actually to consider that one. Indeed, SAF it's very difficult for our farmers, the rural farmers, to access these loans. I think increasing the number of beneficiaries, I said yes, we propose to the ministry, but the ministry feels that we don't have adequate resources at the moment. Unless my colleagues have something to add on.
Yeah, it is just an addition in terms of the transport for our vet officers. I think this point was very well stressed to the ministry. And most of the problems these people were facing actually is because of the large camps, because they are very big. Now they were looking at the probability of the provision of transport, and we talked about it, and we still feel that it is important that it is considered. And as you propose the final document, be candid enough to consider the transport of these officers to ensure efficiency towards the service delivery to the farmers. Then on the issue of the bill, we will not be as precise when it is coming, but the bill is very active on the floor of the House. As soon as the Honorable Minister brings it, definitely we still seek support from the Honorable members, because this is a document that is going to speak to the challenges that the land issues are facing, more especially, as is stressed by Honorable Mabenga, the issues of land from the traditional conversion to titling is where we have a problem, because now currently where the land is available predominantly is through the chiefs, and conversion is a challenge. You find that there are a lot of issues that the tribunals are facing in terms of resolving disputes. Therefore, we feel that it is important that this bill comes back so that we can try and see if it is possible to resolve these issues through the bill. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, I think have done quite a lot of work with this committee. Therefore, we'll ask that we end here. Vice Chairperson and your team, thank you very much for coming and for the responses that you have provided for the committee. As I indicated, we are meeting the Minister tomorrow, and these things which you were raising, we definitely need to engage in. And we, as you indicated, if you can have that supplement, that 450 million, if you manage to get the details that are required before end of day today or early tomorrow, that will still be okay. Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you for coming. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I want to also thank the expanded committee for giving us this opportunity to appear before you and present our reports on 3 aids. Indeed, I think the 450 million will definitely be in touch with the ministry. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources has made its submission of the sector budget report to the expanded Planning and Budgeting Committee, and that was to Heads 85, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Head 86, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, and Head 89, Ministry of Agriculture. And I must make mention that the expanded Planning and Budgeting Committee tomorrow is expecting to have the Minister of Finance and National Planning, who will be responding to salient issues, and so we do expect to broadcast live. Remember, the Expanded Planning and Budgeting Committee has been receiving submissions of the sector budget reports from all the parliamentary committees that had been receiving submissions from various stakeholders after the Minister of Finance and National Planning presented the 2026 estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 1st January to 31st December 2026. So I would urge you to keep watching Parliament Television, the only station that brings Parliament closer to you.
Onoyo constituency will profile one of the most prominent constituencies in the country.
The constituency is facing a lot of challenges, but the major ones are, number one, poor road network, communication network, no financial institutions, no colleges, no electricity, and inadequate infrastructure in both education and health.
bayuti nabonayika mulandu n'obwalwa nabana mayo bonse nabaponenamu nsunko obwalwa shena nashibonawula
echo ndeko nkomesha ndeko obuyantanshi kuno kwanga obutinjeko kuno mukushi is a farm block and then mukushi no turalima ko into things sana so no misevo poor road networks not challenge tukwete po tureshingwana na ena.
In Mukoshi, we watch Parliament TV.
Watch Parliament TV, the TV that brings Parliament closer to our community.
Deva tetamba Parliament TV kudia, great.
Keep watching Parliament Television.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
wizamile nkono ganza zokosea koma nikamba nyimbo yako mutima wangu shonesea nikamba nyimbo yako pambu zonse zonesea mtima lelo wanena pankani iyi yokusia nchifukwa chake lelo ntetekela zako motema lelo naokana ukali hayangu onse auduyo kudala chabentawe akudale kwa simbi wakongola huko anga kusamale zonse tawe nikaluganizapo namba nyimbo yako ya lela pandima kumba monga iwi ya mwangu mumtima ni wako umkonge kulikose kwangalute olomwao ulesiai ndaolopakamwa one na boza mutima ni nsimbi sina maboza konka
bavudiza kunena ngana kine bavudiza kunena bavudiza kunena ngana mama bavudiza kunena bavudiza miyebe kine bavudiza miyebe bavudiza miyebe mama bavudiza miyebe bavudiza buwera mama mabira yo yo. Bamuzibaru wabo mama bamuzibaru wabo amigatinka epone amigatinka epo amigatinka epone amigatinka epo bavudiza kunena ngana kine bavudiza kunena bavudiza kunena ngana mama bavudiza kunena bavudiza miyebe kine bavudiza miyebe bavudiza miyebe mama bavudiza miyebe bavudiza buwera kine bavudiza buwera bamuzibaru wabo bamuzibaru wabo bamuzibaru wabo mama bamuzibaru wabo amigatinka epone amigatinka epo amigatinka epone amigatinka epo bavudiza kunena ngana kine bavudiza kunena bavudiza kunena ngana mama bavudiza kunena bavudiza miyebe kine bavudiza miyebe bavudiza miyebe mama bavudiza miyebe bavudiza buwera mama mabira yo yo 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 mabira yo yo.
Thereafter, we'll go into the presentation. So let me request you to make your introduction.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Jonas Matende. I'm Legal Aid Counsel. I'm standing in on behalf of the Director of Legal Aid, Mr. Humphrey Mwemba, who unfortunately is unable to appear before you. He was supposed to come through, but an emergency in the last minute has resulted in him not appearing. So I'll be proceeding on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. Those online, Honorable, are you there? So, Honorable members, let us make our introductions, beginning with the left side.
Thank you so much, Chair. Legal Aid Board, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Lamek Hamwata, Member of Parliament for Pemba Constituency and a member of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Joseph S. Musanje, Member of Parliament for Mbabara Constituency. Thank you. Welcome.
Chair, thank you so much. Our witness, you're welcome. My name is Monty Chinkuli, Member of Parliament for Kanyama. Thank you.
Hello, Chair.
You can proceed.
My name is Mlenga Francis Fure, Member of Parliament for Chiruli. I'm also a member for this particular committee. Thank you.
Permanent representative.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Members. My name is Chawezi Chirwa. I'm from the Ministry of Justice. I'm sitting in as a permanent witness.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning, witness. My name is Namakau Mwalie from Office of the Clerk.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Honorables. And good morning, witnesses. My name is Muchindo Munsanje from the Office of the Clerk.
Good morning. My name is Lavmoje Rogawata from the Office of the Clerk, and I'm the Secretary to this committee. You're welcome.
Good morning once again. My name is Chinga Mewto. I represent Karau Central and the chairperson for the committee. Arising from Cap 12 is an assurance of immunity that you are protected from any sort of prosecution that might arise as a result of this interaction. Also, the immunity is against the usage of